Okay, so here is our textured addition to the sculpts, and I was totally full of BS before. That sculpting tool really made that a hell of a lot easier. So if I add this to the video, and remember it, link in the description, but these lines will carry through, and I will probably end up bulking the eyebrows out more, but if they're there and I decide to use them as is, then they're there and I don't have to worry about it. But at this point, that's about all I can do until this dries up. So we're going to let it do that and then get to work on working on other sections of the sculpt. Alright, I've done some initial sculpting, and now I would really like to pull the beach ball out so I can take a look at the sides, see how strong the overall armature is, and that'll give me leave to both cut out the sections if I want to, and more definitively for me right now, I want to start working on the stem sometime today. So, removal of the beach ball, assuming you properly left it out, is relatively simple. We just pop our lid and give the nozzle a squeeze, and it will start to deflate on the inside. If you push it back, you'll get a little bit more air gusting out. And if you press down on it from the inside with your fingers, that will also help to squidge out that air. It may take a little while, so don't worry about it, and yes, it will come out even through a tiny hole. And at long last, our ball is out and ready to be used for another pumpkin. Yay! And on the inside, we have a beautiful, smooth texture with no lumps and bumps and other nastiness that caused the making of this video over the old stuffed trash bags. Hi, you're inside one of the new version 2 pumpkins. You might notice something apart from the old ones. The old ones have an inside that's rough as heck, but this one is in fact completely and entirely smooth inside. One of the benefits of using the beach ball is the fact that the inside is no longer an absolute trap to try to get spaces that are unpaintable for whatever reason. Typically, it's because the paper on the old version just made so many crinkles inside that bag. But with the beach ball inside, your internals are flat out and smooth up, so it's much easier to paint. Ah, it's wonderful. Fantastic. At this point, you can go ahead and carve out bits if you feel like it. You do not have to wait till precisely this stage to pull the ball out, so long as you've got an outer coating to paper clay to hold the form up and become your pseudo armature as you're working on it, the ball can come out. Realistically, I don't like to pull it out before this stage just because I like knowing there's that internal structure there that will help hold things up should there be any kind of collapse or problem with the ball. I'm going to do a little bit more sculpting today though and have some more fun and hopefully start on the stem armature. Alright, I'm going to quickly spin up the Dremel and make just a hole for the stem. I've decided to start the stem just based on where I'm at in the project. To make the stem, you're going to want to pretty much follow the same guide as is in the old pumpkin tutorial, but I'll go over the main points briefly. You need a relatively small hole, about the size of a US dime. If you want your stem to curl in crazy directions rather than being just a single stand-up piece, I recommend you fortify the inside with wire. This is just some gardening wire. It's about, I don't know, 2 millimeters or a little less than an eighth of an inch, or a little more than an eighth of an inch wide. The sturdier the wire, the better your stem is going to do. I've made this deliberately too long because I plan on it being cut short. But after you've got a wire piece, we're going to wrap it up with some paper. Really incredibly tightly wind. And if you don't plan on making crazy shapes, then you can just take paper and wind it into a tube, again very tightly wound, to become the core of your stem. How you wind it really doesn't matter. I'm just using a bit of a diamond shape here so I get some coverage. And as soon as I hit the end of this, I'm going to masking tape it up. Our goal was to make at least one end of this stem somewhat pointy in terms of paper density, so that it can fit in here and eventually we'll hit a spot where it wedges and ceases to go in any further. So I'm just going to continue to layer my way up the stem and go for that plug sort of effect. On my upper portion, I did not wrap as tightly as I wanted it to, and that can be resolved just by taping it down so that it really clamps and compresses any airspace out. You don't have to really hideously overdo it, but that's a solution if you get your wrap done and it really doesn't seem tight enough to you. I've got a spot here where I've got a depth at which it's starting to drag onto that dime-sized hole I made. My wire stops there. I'm going to try to make it so that the bulk of where it stops is probably about 3 to 4 inches above where my wire ends inside my tube. So I'm going to try to make it so this here is the stoppage point. If you do this with kind of a diamond-sized sheet of paper, this is somewhat of a guarantee that'll happen because your spot upper and lower of your initial corner wrap point will be lighter, and obviously the spot on the midline will be the thickest point of the wrap. Okay. I know I've got it about where I want because upon shoving it in, I've got this nice little blunt of things to show me where it crunched up. I know it probably won't go anywhere from there on out. So I'm just going to wrap a little bit more around my top, and then I'm going to set it in and start to shape my stem. I think I'm also going to grab my hot glue gun to use that as a temporary place fixer. The same way I did with my original pumpkin videos. The only thing I'm doing now is just kind of feeling my way down the stem. If I feel any area that compresses way too much, that there's too much air in there, I'm just giving that spot a tight wrap with tape to make sure that my overall structure is as relatively solid as a whole bunch of rolls of paper can possibly be. At this point, we have pretty much a stem foundation, or our own little magic pumpkin wizard wand, and we can get ready to set it. All we're going to do is just wedge the bottom in, get to that spot where it doesn't want to go any further, grab a hot glue gun and anchor it. Make sure that as with all hot glue gun bindings, you're not just putting it putting a line of glue at the base of where the two surfaces join. You want to give them kind of an L bracket out in every single direction, so you got lots of adhesion on the pumpkin and lots of adhesion up the stem for about 1 inch or so. That'll give you a much better bond. I'm going to give a second or 3 for that hot glue to cool down and become rigid, and then we'll look at bending the stem to a shape we like. And you can bend the stem in any crazy direction you want. You can rotate the stem in any crazy direction you want. Bear in mind, if you rotate it after you just hot glued it like the idiot I am, you're going to have to add that hot glue again because it's going to tear through. Maybe you want to bend the hot glue into place before, or bend your stem into place before you hot glue it. I don't know. What do I know? I'm just making the tutorial. Don't make these mistakes. We make the mistakes so you don't have to. I'm going to let that hot glue get a heck of a lot more sturdy before I start screwing around with it again. Because if I start bending this stem to adjust anymore while it's in that current state, it'll just tear. So I'm going to do a little bit more sculpt work while I wait for that to do its thing and really become actually hard. Anybody who's been watching the series all the way through may be wondering why I'm going over the stuff that I painstakingly detailed before. That's just because as I looked at the pumpkin again, I wanted these brows to be bigger and more present. Consequently, I knew I might have to go over that, and this initial layer here is just becoming a foundation block that I can build on. So that is why I am going over work that it looks like I've already done before, when in fact, that's exactly what's happening, because I like it better with a larger brow. I want it to be completely done. So, little changes on the fly happen. Don't be afraid to make them, even if it means going over something that you previously thought was complete.